What if everything you learned in school, everything you studied in college, everything you saw on TV was wrong? What if the history we've been taught is just one version, the winner's version? But what about the real story, the truth that's been hidden for thousands of years? Well, today, I'm about to take you on a journey that will completely change how you see the world. A book so profound, so mind-bending, that once you read it, you can never go back to your old way of thinking. The book is called The Secret History of the World, and it's written by Jonathan Black, the author of the acclaimed Interview with the Vampire series. This isn't just another history book, guys. This is a wake-up call. And if you want to know the truth, you need to watch this entire video. So hit that subscribe button right now, turn on notifications, and let's dive into this together, because your entire worldview is about to change. Okay, friends, let me be clear about what the secret history of the world actually is. This isn't conspiracy theory nonsense. Jonathan Black is a serious writer, a serious researcher. What he's done is compiled centuries of evidence, historical documents, and academic research into one stunning revelation. And that revelation is this: there is a hidden history of the world running parallel to what we're taught. While we learn about kings and wars and politicians, there's another story happening behind the scenes. A story about secret knowledge, ancient wisdom, and hidden organizations that have shaped everything.
And here's where it gets really fascinating. Black documents how every major ancient civilization had something in common: a secret teaching system, 2 levels of knowledge. In Egypt, you had the public religion for the masses, but then you had the mystery schools, where the real knowledge was taught, where initiates learned the true nature of reality. In Greece, you had the same thing. Pythagoras, Plato, Socrates, they all went through initiatory systems. They weren't just philosophers sitting around talking. They were part of an organized system of wisdom keeping. And in India, the same structure. Ancient texts reveal that knowledge was divided into exoteric teachings, the outer teachings for everyone, and esoteric teachings, the inner teachings for the chosen few. This is the pattern Jonathan Black identifies. Everywhere he looks, he finds this structure: 2 levels, 2 schools, the outer and the inner. And the people who had access to the inner knowledge, they understood the true workings of the universe. They knew things about reality that we're only now rediscovering through science.
But here's the critical question. What exactly was this hidden knowledge? Jonathan Black reveals that the ancient keepers understood sacred geometry, the mathematical patterns that underlie all creation, the same ratios and proportions you see in flowers, in galaxies, in human bodies. This isn't accident, it's design. The true nature of consciousness. That consciousness isn't just something in our brains, but something fundamental to the universe itself. Energy systems, ways of harnessing and directing energy that we're only beginning to understand today. The cycles of history, that human civilization follows patterns, repeats cycles, and these cycles can be predicted. Think about it. If you understood these principles, you'd have real power. Not military power, not economic power, but something deeper. You'd understand how reality itself works. And if only a few people understand how reality works, well, they're going to be in control of those who don't. That's the secret. That's what's been hidden.
Now let's jump to the Middle Ages. This is where Black's argument becomes absolutely stunning. While we're taught that the Middle Ages were dark and backwards, and yes, there was genuine suffering and ignorance, Black shows that there was also a sophisticated underground movement preserving and advancing ancient knowledge. The Freemasons, the Rosicrucians, various esoteric orders. They weren't just hobby clubs for old men. They were active institutions preserving the ancient teachings. And here's what's amazing. If you actually study the buildings and monuments built during the Middle Ages, you see the same sacred geometry encoded in them. The cathedrals, the temples, the proportions are precise, the symbols are deliberate. This wasn't medieval builders stumbling upon proportions by accident. this was knowledge being transmitted and applied. Black argues that while the Catholic Church was suppressing scientific thought publicly, there were secret circles within the church itself that were studying the ancient mysteries, keeping the knowledge alive. And then comes the Renaissance, and Black argues this is where everything changes. For centuries, the knowledge had been locked away, hidden, preserved in secret societies. But around the 14th, 15th century, something shifts. The keepers of the ancient wisdom decide it's time to release knowledge, time to awaken humanity. Suddenly you get figures like Leonardo da Vinci, and here's what's crucial. Leonardo's notebooks reveal he understood principles of engineering, anatomy, physics that shouldn't have been possible in his time. Where did this knowledge come from? Black suggests Leonardo was part of these secret networks. He had access to information from the ancient schools. And then you get the scientific revolution. Copernicus, Galileo, Newton. Officially, they're discovered things through observation and mathematics. But what if they also had access to ancient knowledge that guided their inquiries? What if they knew what they were looking for because they'd been given the framework? This isn't to diminish their genius. It's to say they weren't working in isolation. They were part of something larger. And here's where it gets even more controversial. Black examines the founding of America, and he reveals something that most Americans don't know. Many of the founding fathers were Freemasons. George Washington, Benjamin Franklin, Thomas Jefferson. Now, people dismiss this. So what? They were just Masons. But Black argues these men were conscious participants in a larger historical movement. They weren't just starting a nation. They were creating the foundation for a new world order based on Enlightenment principles. Look at the architecture of Washington, D.C. It's filled with Masonic and esoteric symbols. The layout of the city follows sacred geometry principles. The Great Seal of the United States? Look at it closely. An unfinished pyramid with an all-seeing eye. On the other side, an eagle with wings spread. These are ancient esoteric symbols. Black doesn't say this means America is evil or part of some sinister plot. He says it means America was designed by people who understood the ancient wisdom, who wanted to create a nation based on enlightenment and spiritual principle, not just greed and power. Whether you agree with his interpretation or not, once you see these connections, you can't unsee them.
And here's the revolutionary argument that Black keeps building toward. What if history isn't random? What if the major turning points of human civilization, the Renaissance, the Scientific Revolution, the Enlightenment, the Industrial Revolution, the Information Age, what if these weren't accidents? What if there's been a long-term plan, unfolding over centuries, to gradually awaken humanity and guide civilization toward enlightenment? Think about it this way. If you have wisdom, real, tested wisdom about how the world works, and if you care about humanity, don't you want to gradually share that wisdom? Don't you want to guide people toward it? But you can't just dump it all on them at once. People aren't ready. People would resist. So you do it gradually. You plant seeds. You create movements. You inspire certain individuals. Black argues that this is exactly what has happened. The ancient keepers of wisdom have been gradually introducing knowledge into human civilization for thousands of years. This explains the patterns of history. This explains why progress seems to come in waves. This explains why certain periods seem to have a guiding intelligence behind them. It's not a conspiracy. It's a mission, a spiritual mission to guide humanity toward enlightenment.
Now here's why you need to care about this, why this matters right now. Because if Black is right, we're living in a critical period. We're at the end of a cycle and the beginning of a new one. And that means the knowledge that was hidden is now being revealed. All the breakthroughs in quantum physics, neuroscience, consciousness research, these aren't accidents. These are ancient principles finally being proven by modern science. When you understand this, you see the world differently. You see events differently. You recognize that beneath surface-level chaos, there's an intelligence at work. And more importantly, you understand that you might be called to be part of this awakening, that you might have a role to play in humanity's spiritual evolution.
That's what Jonathan Black's book reveals. It's not just a history book, it's a call to awakening.
The Secret History of the World is one of those rare books that changes you. You don't just read it and forget it. You read it and you start seeing patterns everywhere. In architecture, in symbolism, in historical events, in modern culture. It makes you question everything. And that's actually a good thing, because growth comes through questioning, because truth reveals itself to those who seek it. This book is an invitation to seek, to dig deeper, to look beyond the surface story and find the hidden truth. And that's incredibly powerful. Whether you agree with all of Black's arguments or not, and you might not, this book will expand your mind. It will show you that history is far more complex and fascinating than what we're taught in schools.
Okay, so here's the deal. If this video has made you think, if it's made you question, if it's sparked your curiosity about history, about hidden knowledge, about the deeper patterns of civilization, then you need to hit that like button right now. Show YouTube that this content matters. Show that people want to think deeply about history and truth. Come on, 1 second. That's all it takes. And if you want more videos like this, exploring mind-bending ideas, hidden histories, and books that change your worldview, then subscribe. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications, because we drop deep dive content like this every single week. On this channel, we're building a community of thinkers, people who aren't satisfied with surface-level explanations, people who want to dig deeper, people who want to understand. And you're clearly one of those people, so be part of this community. Subscribe.
Thank you so much for watching this entire video. Seriously, your time and attention mean everything to me. I hope this has given you something to think about. I hope you're now going to pick up The Secret History of the World by Jonathan Black and dive deep into it yourself. Because the truth is out there, and the first step to finding it is asking questions, being curious, being willing to see beyond what you've been taught. Remember, history isn't just what happened in the past. History is what we're creating right now. And if you understand the hidden patterns, you're in a position to shape that history. So go, question, seek, learn, grow. I'll see you in the next video. And hey, thanks again for being here.